All right, gang, no Tommy Mansky in sight, but we're going to give you a defensive breakdown as best as we can with one of the best in all of the game. This man is on the cusp of his very first Rawlings Heart of the Hide Gold Glove Award. It's Pete Crow-Armstrong. Pete, taking a look at this field right here, there's two different size fences. There's a big one, which we're going to translate to Wrigley Field because we know you're not jumping up and robbing balls out of that basket, even though your skill set is next level. And then we're going to use a smaller fence as, say, Dodger Stadium. We know you had an electric catch out there, so let's walk us through it right quick. If you're going out there, you know that you have to make that play. How important is the warning track coming into play for you?
I mean, the warning track's big. If you're busting tail back towards the ball, I don't know how often I'm actually able to feel the dirt versus the grass. But in your peripherals, you kind of catch it.
Now, is it the feel or the sound? What actually registers first with you?
I think feels probably first. If anything, sounds. I don't know. That's actually a good question because you do hear. You have like that weird, like, second set of hearing almost that kind of drowns out the crowd.
For those not familiar, taking your eye off the ball, not an easy thing to do, and not all major league outfielders are able to do that. Tucking and running, you know that ball is going to get to a certain spot. You're able to turn your back and then look over your other shoulder and re-pick that ball back up, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, and you gain more ground that way. It's much different looking up versus keeping your head forward. And if you're able to take your eye off the ball, then it makes it that much easier to find the wall in time.
How old were you when you were able to make that transition, when you said, okay, here's the ball, I need to track it, and then make the play, as opposed to, all right, I see it, it's going to go there, let me get to that spot, turn around, there it is?
I mean, there's probably a few points in my life where some of that figuring out took place. Definitely in high school. I had a really good outfield-minded coach, a couple of them actually, that really pushed us to challenge ourselves at a young age, and that, I think that set me on a really good track. But I worked with Almora and Kevin Pillar when I was with the Mets, and they were kind of the first two people to tell me that trying to beat the baseball to the spot is not really the way to go. The moment they told me to run with the baseball and let the baseball kind of tell me where it's going to fall has helped my routes a lot, I think. So
for you, is it dependent play-by-play, personal preference, like, okay, I need to turn my back to the ball and get to that spot, and some you can just, okay, I can coast, I can make this play?
Absolutely, that's where the feel comes in. I mean, there's certain balls where you hear it or it's where the pitch was and you know who's hitting, and if it's Ronald Acuna and you kind of see that trajectory, you're pretty sure you're going back on the baseball and you probably got to go hard. But like I said, at Wrigley, that's tough. You gotta be able to keep your eye on the ball for most of the time, and that's why that's the hardest outfield to play in, is because you got two other guys you're hoping not to run into, and you're hoping that you have that prior communication, but also that trust in each other that they'll either be there to play the ball if you can't, but that it's a safe atmosphere out there.
Absolutely, and you make mention of a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr., you see cats like Mookie Betts. When a ball is absolutely starched, hit on a line and starts low and starts coming in, how tough is that for you as a center fielder? Because that's a tough one.
That's always a tough one. That's a tough one at any age. And there's little things you can kind of try and do to help you with that. What I grew up doing was, if you're down in your prep step and the ball's below your brim, that's usually the sign that you go in. And if you start to feel like it's creeping up or getting higher than that, then you're usually moving backwards. Okay,
you gave us a few tips on how to play the big wall. We'll get to the smaller wall, which is like the one we saw you rob at Dodger Stadium last season, but I want to know how you put your hand in your glove. Some people, they put their finger out, some people go two in the pinky. How do you do it, and what gives you the best ability to make a play?
I'm cheating a little bit because this isn't the glove I use. So my finger is in, but I go out. It just adds length to your glove. I don't feel like I need my whole hand in the mitt, so feeling like I have
help fingertip to fingertip close and gives you more of a deep pocket?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like building my pocket as I'm playing catch and stuff, so that's already taken care of, but it's more for me about the length. I feel like I already feel like I can get to everything, but having that extra, sorry, I had to put that one in there, but feeling like I have the extra length, it's always comfortable for me.
Let's give a little demonstration here. This is the big wall. This is Wrigley Field. The ball's smoked. You know that you need to make a play against that ivy and brick. How are you going to get it done, Pete?
Again, you kind of know what the ball is going to do in general, depending on how the wind's blowing, in my opinion. If it's a strong wind day and it's pounding in, it's definitely more comfortable going backwards.
Okay.
If the wind's blowing out, you kind of learn that Ball over your head, it's either a homer or it is off the wall. But with the ivy, you don't get the same ricochets as you would at Fenway. So like this being the Green Monster,
Sure.
You know, you saw Ian do a really good job of it last year dealing with the wall. He had a low line drive, and this might be like the best example of the feel of baseball is when Ian went back on this low line drive, he tried making a play on the ball because he could.
Sure.
Now, it's a trajectory thing. If you feel like you can get the beat on it, you finish the play.
Okay.
If you get that sense that, oh, this ball is definitely going to go over my head, you try and find that comfortable place where you can get to any which way it decides to bounce. But at Wrigley, you don't really deal with that because it usually sticks in the ivy or it kind of falls straight down or gets caught a little bit. So it's just as important for our outfielder as well to be behind whoever's making that play.
Absolutely. We've also seen you make plays where you get to the wall and you still have a little time and then you're able to run along the wall and still make that play. Is that something when you turn your back, get to the spot and say, okay, I still have a little more ground to make up?
Yeah, I mean, that's always nice having the time to decide in the outfield. You're not always awarded that. I mean, again, that's kind of what I was saying too about running with the baseball. It's not always the most comfortable thing being there too early and then having to find it again and adjust. So again, I want to just say it's an experience thing. You've seen enough reps to kind of know just inherently that it's going to be this or that, whether it's short of the wall or going to hit the wall. And you know, a lot of the times it's smarter making the safe play where you just can get it back into the field cleanly, and you give them two bases versus, you know, my inside the park home run where it takes that crazy kick and then you're running all around the bases.
And how important is your throwing hand to be able to find that wall? Because if you don't find the wall in enough time, you're going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a safety thing too. Like, you know, I think you're taught as a kid to kind of bend your arm and feel for it with your forearm or your palm.
Sure. Just
because you don't want to extend and, you know, jam yourself, whatever happens there. But yeah, the off arm's important if you're getting close to the wall, just to kind of, I mean, I've had plenty of times where I've jumped right into the wall. It happened in Philly where I couldn't actually get off the ground because I jumped straight into the wall.
Okay.
You know, it can even help you get up there too. Like if you can use it to pull you up, that works too.
Okay. You said you feel like you can get to everything. You got the stars on the haircut. What are the expectations for 2025 for Pete Crow-Armstrong, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be in the Gold Glove conversation again. I think that's a goal I've had for a long time as I've taken more pride in defense. I'm in a very good National League group of center fielders, so that just adds to the excitement of shooting for that goal. But I mean, if we're talking goals that matter, we got Kyle Tucker now. We got some good arms. We got Carson as a experienced, important position at catcher. So if we're talking important goals, I mean, I want to be a part of this team and play in October. We got every capability, every opportunity to do so.
Being flanked by Gold Glovers, Ian Happ over there in left, Kyle Tucker in right. How much easier does it make it for you to do your job? Because Happer and Tuck, they said, well, we're just going to defer to Pete. He can cover everything out there.
I mean, that's a huge honor and it's a big compliment for sure, because I'm the lone non-Gold Glover, you know. Yet. But no, it's a big compliment for sure, and I think that establishes trust right away. But again, like, it's important for me not to go make the play if I don't have to. I did that a lot last year where I'd kind of gotten Ian's grill and made stuff overcomplicated. So, but I mean, I got the whole middle of the field is gold.
True.
And I want to make it 5, but it's I had it pretty easy with Cody last year too. I can't lie. Sure. So I've been lucky to play alongside some pretty good outfielders, and then add in QB, and
QB is Quentin Berry for those not.
Quentin Berry, yeah,
absolutely.
And Jose Javier, you know, they've presented me with really good information in the outfield that I'm excited to take into this year with me.
You know, 75% of the earth is covered by water. The other 25% is covered by this man right here. You can bookmark this moment. Pete Crow-Armstrong will win his first of many Gold Gloves in 2025. Pete, thanks for catching up, man. Always
appreciate you. Always.